And Josh, before we kind of break this down, do you have any thoughts or anything that kind of jumps out when you think about these early 90s Magic teams?
For me, I think, like you said, whenever I think of those teams, I just think of Shaquille O'Neal and how generational of a prospect he was. And, we know what he becomes, and I think he's obviously, it's fairly deserved that he is remembered as a Los Angeles Laker. Peak of his career is in LA. LA's a bigger market. He played with Kobe, won 3 championships. That's understandable. But when you look at how different he looked and how NBA ready he was right off the bat, I mean, like you said, they saw, what was it, a 20-win jump essentially from when he was drafted, which is, I mean, just incredible. I mean, it's an exponential growth from the time that he was drafted to the time when he ultimately ended up in Los Angeles. So, I mean, I know when I think of those teams, I think of, like you said, maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity. You wonder what would have happened if they stuck together for a little bit longer. I know a lot of that has to do with Penny Hardaway ultimately not being healthy and having his bevy of injuries, which is a real bummer because, Penny Hardaway is one of the great lost. I mean, he had the potential to be, honestly, an all-timer. All-NBA guy, tall guard, athletic, versatile, fantastic playmaker, great court vision. I mean, we can go on and on about him, but I mean, those Magic teams are special. I know they're iconic for Magic fans. I know they're held. And not only that, but for me, they're kind of synonymous with the 90s. I think of those uniforms. Yeah. I think of them being an expansion team and just being new in that decade. And when you have a signature player like that right off the bat, it's hard. I mean, in a decade with Michael Jordan, I think that's pretty impressive that when you think of the 90s Magic, I mean, that's kind of synonymous with the decade. So that's where I ultimately land with them.
No, and that's a great landing spot, and that really does sum up just how paramount this team was to this decade of NBA basketball. But now they're playing 2023 teams, now hypothetical NBA time machine here. Similar to what we saw with the Pistons, and I think this is going to be the case of any NBA era versus the modern era. The question is, how do they adjust to the game in wildly more three-point shooting? Well, the simple answer is this team, these Orlando Magic, are going to adjust just fine. In 95-96, although only attempting 17 threes a game, they shoot 37% as a team. That would be good enough for 9th in 2023. The next year, they upped that to 37.8 on 20 attempts, which would have been the 5th best percentage in 2023. Assuming that percentage can stay relatively in the same ballpark as the volume goes up, we had guys on this team, besides the big two, we had Nick Anderson over those 2 seasons shooting 40.3% on just under 6 attempts a game. Then we had the Dennis Scott, nicknamed 3D, great nickname.
Wow, that's fantastic. I didn't know that one. Wow, that's an all-timer.
And he shoots 32.6 on just about 7 attempts over these 2 years. So, while Penny himself only shoots 33.1, that's respectable. It's not gonna, do anything to hurt you. It can be assumed that with modern coaching and training that he can probably get that percentage up himself. Yeah. This is one team adjusting to the modern NBA style of play. It's not going to be an issue for them.
No. That's where I think I landed as well. It's hard not to get there, honestly. Just looking at these numbers from what you're telling me, and I'm hopping onto their page. I mean, they took threes at a pretty healthy clip for the era. I'm looking at their ages. I mean, this is a pretty spry team. The 1995 team that made the finals, only 3 guys on their roster had more than 5 years of experience. Like, this is a young team.
And again, 6 years of existence. These expansion teams are not supposed to be good for a good decade because they're all so young. Because everyone they have is under the age of 30. And they break the trend. A lot of that has to do with the Big D Sir himself, who, like you said, was NBA ready from day one.
Yeah.
By this time, they make the finals, and the best year of Magic history, in my opinion,